I started working in the puppet theater when I was 10 years old. And at that time in the history of puppetry, what was very exciting was the advent of sound, because what you could do is pre-record the entire puppet show, and because you were behind a little curtain or a castle, the audience doesn't know the show is pre-recorded. um, and then you can work the puppets to the tape, and you can concentrate on really refined manipulation of the puppet when you don't have to at the same time create the dialogue. And the dislocation of the sound to the image meant that then the image was put in question. And we suddenly begin to realize that what you look at is the world of appearances. And there's something beneath, deeper than a world of appearances. Now, we know this from, a beautiful tradition of the Greek theater. As you know, the Greek theater was primarily a sound instrument, right? The amphitheaters remain these astounding acoustical marvels in which it's carving a giant ear into the side of a mountain and putting 5,000 people, situating them in this ear that you've made out of stone and flesh. And those 5,000 people are, through acoustical engineering, able to hear with perfect clarity the sound of one person. We live in a period where architecture is totally focused on visuals. And of course, so many of the great sacred structures are sound devices. And the Greek amphitheater was about deep listening. It was about democracy, is about your ability to listen, to hear a voice you wouldn't otherwise hear. And democracy becomes about how do you listen, not just how do you speak. Greek democracy was, let's face it, a little bit challenged, but was a beautiful moment before it was totally unraveled by money. I know that doesn't sound familiar. What is that? Okay, never mind. Let's go back. Greek democracy also had one other slight limit, which was it was really perfect for men. But of course, if you were a woman, a child, a foreigner, or a slave, you had no voice. You could not speak in the Senate. You could not vote. Now, what's interesting about the Greek theater is the city council would pay for your ticket if you couldn't afford it. Pericles, at that height of Athenian democracy, actually would pay audience members a full day's agricultural wages so that they would not lose anything economically by spending the day at the theater. It was that important to be a citizen. You had to go to the theater. You had to be inside this deep listening device, and you had to listen to whose voice? What's pretty interesting is the name of every surviving Greek play is the name of a woman, a child, a slave, or a foreigner. The Greek theater was a listening device that enabled you to hear a set of voices that were otherwise not acknowledged and otherwise had no power. And a space was shaped on the side of a mountain next to the sea with this vista of sky, placing that invisible human being in front of you and saying, please listen. Please listen to this invisible person.